Annoying that instead of coming to say hello to me, Bini wants to like goof off with like the other people. We're supposed to be here working on our marriage, but he's just not willing to take anything seriously.
Ariola is the worst partner. You guys are insane. This is the heading that is given to us here on this Reddit article that we're about to read right here. Now, as you can see, the person even said, please keep in mind, this is based on the Last Resort episode 3 and back. Now, of course, the clip that I showed you guys was based from the most recent episode, which was episode 3. Okay, so if she says something absolutely wild, I ain't got nothing to do with that. And then obviously this person begins by then saying, unpopular opinion apparently, but Bini has been a horrible husband to her this entire time. Yeah, what she's doing is toxic, but people are dragging on that passport thing and making it seem like she's the worst partner in the world is ludicrous. I mean, listen, obviously I've made my videos, I've obviously said my own fair share regarding that matter, but we continue for now. She was managing his social media with him. Yes, with him. And he decided to post a picture of him kissing another woman, which to be fair, you know, was very, very wild, very wild. Now, it does say here that in open brackets, she could have changed the password and posted terrible selfies of him not knowing his angles. That would have been funny in my opinion, close bracket. I mean, it is fair, you know, if she really wanted to be doing anything really, really nasty to him, given the fact that he had posted a picture of him and somebody else, she could have definitely taken advantage of the ability of the fact that she had, you know, access to his accounts, because of course she helped him obviously build that social media account. This also continues by saying, yeah, she's controlling, but before they moved to the USA, he didn't tell his sisters until the last night, and both sisters threw wine in Ari's face, trying to jump her. And to be fair, that is very, very true. You know, I just feel like when it comes to the situation here with Ari and Bini, we are dealing with, I guess, what people like to call the Angela effect, because you know Ariela's displayed herself in a certain type of way. Because Ari is obviously displaying himself in a certain type of way, and Benjamin is always displaying himself as more the innocent person, people are more inclined to want to always, you know, be on Benny's side, regardless of the wrongs that clearly we see in front of our screens. I mean, in my opinion, personally, one of the clearest things that we see that I believe is an issue is that when I'm looking at their relationship, we are looking at somebody who has had a wife before from America, had a child with somebody from America before, and then for some bizarre odd reason, he was cut off from his child with that wife. That is still something that I feel like needs to be taken accountability, because now, fast forward, we're in the same situation where he's got another wife from America, had a kid with her, but rather than really being there for the most part, he'd rather be out there, you know, pretty much trying to advance his own careers or his own desires. But listen, arguably, there's nothing wrong with that, because it's good to want to have goals and want to do things you have 1000%. But when there's a pattern beyond your behavior of you getting women and then having kids with them, but then not really being there to really step up the way you're supposed to step up as a father and as a husband, that tells me a lot. Now, listen, granted, if he doesn't love Ari anymore, that is fine, okay? But, you know, not really be there for your child as much as well, because I find it very interesting how Ari was able to go to Ethiopia, obviously, without Avi, and Beniam didn't really say anything. He wasn't there to really put up a fuss. I just always found that quite obviously we don't know the full story behind that, but I just find it quite interesting. But hey, we continue here. He did nothing and said nothing and just watched it. In my opinion, he isn't a partner. However, I don't live with them. I just know that was sad. That was sad and intense to watch, regardless of her asking him to greet her first with something other than a handshake. And to be fair, that handshake was freaking brutal, man. This guy arrives at a resort, and instead of trying to hug his, not even his wife, but the mother of his kids, you know, it's like, yo, you're not gonna try and give her a cuddle? If she rejects you, that's different. But you going in with a handshake for someone that you married? Like, what? That's nasty work. Oh, because she has his password. Nah, that's nasty work. You know, and I think, to be honest with you, this is one of the situations where it's a matter of opinion, because, you know, as a man, obviously I feel like it's important that you take charge in the way that it's going to conduct the situation in the best way possible, not start the situation in some way that is not going to, it's some way that makes things worse than what they are, you know? But hey, we continue, okay? By the way, it is weird to greet your wife last. Give her a handshake, then say, oh yeah, that's true. He did greet, after greeting everybody else, he went to her last. Which, I mean, that one isn't, I wouldn't say that's a massive big deal, but then again, if she was the first person that you saw, Actually, no, F that. No. You definitely go to your wife first. No, I'm just thinking about it, you know. If I walk into a room, you know, and like someone in there is my girl, you know, and she's the last person that I get to, yes, it may not be it may be a long day for me. So yeah, to be fair, the wife should have been the first one, to be fair, but I guess it depends though, because if you see her first, she's the first person. If you don't see her first and you see other people as you enter the room, different conversation, you know what I mean? Anyway, we continue. Then say, I want to save our marriage, but I want my password first. If he doesn't want her, he should just say that. And she is not the worst out of the two. I mean, I've said that myself, you know. It is very, very interesting, very, very bizarre that this man is saying he only wants to... And listen, do you know what it is? The therapist said it herself. She said that, do you want to fight for this relationship or are you fighting for this freaking password? That wasn't her words in particular, but that was pretty much along those lines. So there is also that part too. I mean, listen, as far as I'm concerned, for me, for as long as I have seen Ari and Benjamin, I've only seen it for 2 seasons, and that's including this season and the last season that they were actually on. All right. And the pattern that I saw with Benjamin's behavior towards Ari told me, in fact, I even saw them on 90-day diaries as well, to be fair, funny enough. So I've actually seen on 3 different shows now, to be fair. And the pattern that I've noticed from himself, is that this man is more than willing to not fight for this relationship, and yes, I've also learned that Ari is definitely a bit too much. But at the same time, though, some people, they become too much because the person that they're with is not giving them the reassurance that they need. Benjamin fails to give Ari the love language that she desires, that whether that be the words of affirmation, whether that be the physical touch, and also whether that also be acts of service as well. All right. And these are the 3 things that I would say that are probably quite key to herself. Because this man does not come in there and give her cuddles. He does not come in there and tell her anything nice, okay? And nor does he come in there and show her that he actually wants to be with her. I'm curious to know, does he even show that he even wants to be there for his child? Because that I haven't seen. I've seen a pattern of Bini. I remember the first season I saw these 2 was when Bini finally made it to America. You know what I mean? And I actually did also see the season where the sister throws the drinking of... Actually, no, I know, so that was a clip. My apologies. But either way, though, when he came to America, all he wanted to do was just explore New York and do all this touristy stuff, despite the fact that when he came here, they were both living in an apartment that was paid for by Ari's parents. So they both wasn't even in a fine situation, but he still wanted her to fork out all this money for him to go to New York and do all these things that wasn't like they're going to be cheap. You see what I'm saying? So for me personally, all I've ever noticed from Benjamin is nothing but just selfish intentions throughout most of the relationship, in terms of him wanting to do things for himself rather than doing things that make sense for his wife and his kid. Ari, on the other hand, has been selfish in terms of the fact that she's tried to get this man to love her the way she wants to be loved. And to be honest with you, that's something that a lot of people do when they're not loved the way they want to love. They would do things selfishly to try and get that person's attention. Is there anything wrong with that? It's a very subjective one, but I will say the only thing that I would say, or the main thing that's wrong with that, is that you're wasting your time trying to get someone to love you the way you want to be loved. Because if they never showed that in the first place, or maybe they did, but then they stopped it and they're not willing to work it anymore, that's usually a sign to say that, hey, it's time to walk away. I would say that Ari's biggest problem is that the fact that she's still trying in this relationship. In my opinion, she should have quit. She should quit. That's simple as that. That's the best thing that she could ever do. She is wasting her time with this man. But hey, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and we'll talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.